Enduring lifeblood of our community with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your shadow with me? Time to get it.
You ready?
Come on, it's the queen of royal badness.
It's time for the Rob Report with Robin Ayers.
Highlighting people and things you should know about.
Robin's got you covered. Follow Robin at Robin Ayers. You're listening to the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Robin's got a lot to talk about.
After the party, let's take a little time and talk about it. What's going through your mind? It has me shaking. Ooh, it looks so right. I wanna ride. See, I would be lying if I ain't tell you.
You are inside the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580, where we bring you the latest in entertainment news, trending topics, and interviews. I am your host, Robin Ayers, with you all Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. on your drive home. You may already be at home. And if you are, good for you, because that LA traffic is no joke. You guys, for the first time, maybe ever since me being at KBLA, I actually got caught up in the freeway accidents traffic. It happened to me. If you know me in my personal life, you know that I try to leave home a good deal in advance so that I never run into accidents or any sort of trouble that can keep me away. But it happened today, pretty big accident on the freeway. I hope everyone there is okay, and sending my well wishes to whoever was in the accident. But for today, we are going to be live from remotely from our home, but it doesn't stop the fun. It doesn't stop the hot topics. It doesn't stop our contributor who I have on the line with me. So I'm excited to get started with him and started on the show today. I'm actually going to bring him in right now so that we can get started on a few updates and maybe we can chime in. Please welcome Chris Gunther from the Chris Gunther Show. Hello to you, Chris.
Man, what's going on, Robin?
You always bring in the fire energy, and I appreciate that so very much. How's your Wednesday going?
My Wednesday has definitely been a Wednesday, but all I know is this. Whenever I get that phone call or that text from my big sis asking, can her little bro come help her out tonight, you daggone right I'm going to take it. How you doing today, sis?
Well, I appreciate that, and I am doing well. Today, it is like you said, it's been a Wednesday. The day has been daying. I'll say that.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, it has. Still good to see you guys. I see you over here in our YouTube chat. So I want to shout you guys out, Raw Squad. Yeah, it is definitely a day, but you know what? It's Friday Junior, like Andy likes to say. You know what I'm saying? It's Friday Junior, not Friday Eve. It's Friday Junior. So we are halfway through the week, and I do want to bring a couple of things to the Raw Report real quick before we get into the show. And number one, that's going to be that today actually marks the fourth anniversary of our beloved Chadwick Boseman, which is such a trip, though, Chris, because it does. First of all, it doesn't seem like 4 years has passed already, but since his passing, he has made such an impact. I believe. Posthumously, not necessarily. He definitely made an impact when he was here, but also now that he's gone, he's going to be felt. His energy and his legacy is still felt. You agree?
100%. And I actually found myself a couple of days ago watching Get Up, the James Brown story that Chadwick, had did, and Man, it just goes to show you, you can have all the money in the world and still be reminded that you're human. None of us knew that he was dealing with what he was dealing with because he was still working. He was still trying to give us his, talent. And man, 4 years have really went by fast to the point where we really had to kind of be reminded, like, wow, like he's really not here anymore. Like I said, I was watching the James Brown story. Then I was watching, Black Panther, and I just was like, man, none of us would have ever knew that this man was dying right in front of our faces. But he also didn't want you to know that because he wanted you to live in the moment. He wanted you to just remember him as he was right then and there. So, God bless his family. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, man. 4 years later, gone but never forgotten.
Yeah, true that. Speaking of, I mean, you actually made a really good point. No matter your fame, no matter your money, it does not matter. What's most important is your health, your family. And speaking of health, Irv Gotti, music producer, who I believe Irv Gotti he needs credit for so much. I think that he has created a sound that was really, really prevalent in the 90s, but
Absolutely.
He's the reason that there are so many #1 hits, billboards, chart topping songs that are out there in people's careers, by the way. He's the reason behind a lot of those people's careers. And he is reportedly recovering from a stroke, according to one of my good friends, Whack 100, who says that he was with him. And he shows a picture of Irv Gotti. And it's just so sad that to see everything that he's done. I mean, here he is now suffering from or recovering from a stroke, and the money does not necessarily matter.
It really doesn't. I think one of the most difficult things for those in this media space that have to cover these stories and they know a little bit more about them than I do is you still have to report on it, but you still got to be like, dude, that's still a human being. That's still somebody that's trying to recover. That's still somebody who probably didn't want a lot of people to know what he was going through. But it also goes to show you that all of us can be touched at any given moment, and it kind of makes you put things into a different perspective from the standpoint of everything that we kind of stress about, everything that we always try to be like, I got to get this taken care of, I got to get that taken care of. It can all change within the blink of an eye and the snap of a finger. That's why sometimes you got to just sit back and pause and just take in every moment, take it one moment and one day at a time.
Amen and amen to that. I completely agree with you. But on to some brighter news, because I know that was, a little dark, but on
just
to brighter news. Just a little bit, but it's all right. It's all right. Steve Harvey, this is actually pretty interesting. He has a biopic in the works. And I think that that's actually going to do well. I think people do want to see his story kind of come to life a little bit. We've heard about Steve Harvey's story if you're a fan of his or, have been around anywhere within the past 20 years because he's talked about his story. But to see it come together in a biopic, I think is going to be pretty interesting. He's definitely deserving of that. And so I'm interested to see that. I'm also interested to see Kerry Washington, who's starring in a film called The 6888, and that's going to be based on the World War II's only Black U.S. Women's Army Corps unit. That to me is very exciting. And for you, I'm assuming, Chris, you are a man of the service as well, right? So does this interest you too?
Both of the films interest me because I love to see those kind of stories being told. We see Kerry Washington and we see her versatility as an actress. So I'm really curious to see how much life she brings into the character that she's going to be portraying. And I'm from Ohio. Steve Harvey is from Ohio. I'm see him be able to finally get his story told, especially in the early part, because I was reading into it a little bit. And according to what I read, they're going to pick the film up from when he was 26 and homeless till where he is now, like going into comedy full time. And we've all heard his story, but we've never really heard the little details in between. So I'm really curious to see what happens.
Same here with me. I'm curious to see what happens as well. I'm really looking forward to that. And of course, as we get closer to the dates when they launch, when they release and all that, I will bring it to the Raw Report. Damian Rowe, he says, is it just me or is this week flying by with some pep in its step? No, brother, it is not just you, Damian. It is everybody. I feel like the week is flying by. But that's just how it goes. Friday will be here before we know it. And I think we could all use that weekend break. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the Raw Report real quick. Andy, can we go to the Raw Report?
Now it's time for a breakdown.
All right, so we are talking about a DJ who called out Alicia Keys because he says he ain't get paid. He didn't get paid from her team, but more so than that, Alicia Keys is questioning what DJs actually do. And I know that opens up an entire conversation when it comes to payola, how things were, how things are right now. But let's talk about that and the purpose of it, the purpose of DJs and do they get enough credit for what they do? Because she's sort of questioning it at this point. We're also going to talk about Ice-T, the legendary actor and rapper who he's pretty much saying that he's sticking out of politics. He does not want anything to do with it. But according to him, he says it's just red and it's just blue and it's gangs. To him, it reminds him of gangs. I hear his point, but I think maybe the discussion is, Chris, is there really an obligation for these people who we see in the limelight who have a large platform to really get more knowledgeable, at least inside of politics, so that you can help steer people the right way and that you can help inform their your audiences. But then again, hey, why put the burden on them? I mean, there's two different ways that we can look at this. We are going to discuss that on the other side. I'm looking forward to that. You are listening to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay right there.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Denzel Whitaker, and I'm on the Raw Report.
You're inside the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Don't settle for bumps, ingrowns, and itch due to dry skin. Try Venus for pubic hair and skin, the razor and regimen specifically designed for your pubic area, featuring a razor with patented irritation defense bar and skincare regimen that is dermatologist and gynecologist tested. Venus helps protect your pubic skin from shave irritation. Discover the full regimen of products at GilletteVenus.com.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes, why should we be silent? Turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation for KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA Can believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Raw Report. With Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, and you are joining me as well as my contributor for the day, Chris Gunther of the Chris Gunther Show. And I'm excited to get into these conversations. On the other side, we were talking about the fact that Ice-T is, I love Ice-T. He's always going to be real with you. That's what you know.
Always.
You know that for sure. He is always going to keep it real. And he's now saying that he stays out of political stuff. Okay. He says that it's the blue versus the red. It's gang banging to him. People have called him out and said that, to be someone who is in the limelight that he is, someone who has the large platform and the influence that he does, that it's not necessarily the best thing that he could have said. It's fine, if you stay out of politics, but why say something like that where it makes it sound as though it's a negative thing? Give me your thoughts on this, Chris. Do you feel like there is sort of an obligation for anybody who is in the limelight to be knowledgeable, number one, to be influential, number two, when it comes to politics, especially in an election where it's so important like the one we have coming up?
In the election that's coming up, you definitely have to be knowledgeable. You have to be knowledgeable of each candidate. And once you have that type of celebrity influence, then you 100% need to be very cautious and very careful of what you say. Ice-T is a legend. I wholeheartedly got a lot of love and respect for the man. For him to use that type of analogy, I'm just going to keep it all the way real with you. I don't disagree with that analogy, because that, for me, as a black man in America, there does seem to be a lot of that going on when it comes down to the elections, whether you are a Democrat or whether you are a Republican. However, what I will 1 billion% say is when you have that type of platform, you got to be careful. Now, I understand what he's saying and I understand how he was trying to come off. And I personally don't disagree with the way that he did it. But I understand how that can be interpreted, especially with the kind of background that, he has had. I'ma just be 100% truthful with you. I'm not a big political person. I try to stay out of politics as much as possible, but I'm not naive enough not to do my research on what's going on, whose policies work, etc. But I don't think I would have used that analogy as Crips and Bloods, but I'm gonna be honest, sis, I don't disagree with him.
Very interesting that you say that. And I'm not mad at that. I learned some years ago that we all have a civic duty. I mean, it's up to really all of us to be involved and to especially, again, I'm gonna go back here. It is important every year. It's important every election, not just every year. I'm talking about every 2 years and every 4 years. It is very important. However, this one specifically, we are talking about Trump and Kamala Harris and those on their ticket. Don't you feel as though, I see Andy's point. He says he's a smart man. He's staying in his lane. I hear that, but to say anything again negatively towards politics, it could influence your audience to be negative about the election. Don't you agree?
It could, especially when you have the type of influence that Ice-T has had, with him being such a legend, with him being the kind of guy that he is. But you also are going to know immediately where you stand with him too. So I don't disagree. Like I said, I don't disagree with his, stance on, but I don't think I would have said it like that. And I'm just going to, like I said, just going to be, 100% honest here. This is a very critical time in this country. We have two people who clearly are from two different walks of life, and we all need to do our part. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I would not do that on the Raw Report. I wouldn't even do it on the Chris Gunther Show. But what I will say is make sure you do your part and make sure that you're, what I'm saying, make sure you get out here, do what you got to do, because there's some real serious stuff at, hand, and we got to do our part. That's all I'm going to say.
you are not wrong about that at all. I just feel as though, there are still so many people who are staying out of it. Some people who are just like, I don't want anything to do with it in terms of politics. Again, to Andy's point, he says people already they feel negatively about politics, which is true. And you can feel that way. I feel some kind of way about politics. I'm not going to lie about that. I know that I've seen some things, I've learned some things. I don't agree with things. I agree with others. So I hear that point. It's just about, I think what it is for me is that people don't realize that they have the power that they do. They have so much more power than they give themselves credit for. And I believe that many other people don't believe that they can make a change. Their vote matters. And so when you have someone like Ice-T making negative connotations towards politics as a whole, okay, fine. But, I still feel like maybe he could sort of, he could still say, hey, this is just me. But, maybe some sort of gesture like, find out for yourself, find out what you think about politics, find out who you want to be the next president of the United States. You know what I mean? And still help guide people that way.
100%. It's not so much what you say, but it's how you say it. And I think because he has such an influential platform and he is such an influential person, he has to kind of choose his wording a little different. However, Ice-T has always been like this from the time that he came out in the 80s till now. What you see with him is what you get. They asked him a question. He gave you his 100% answer, how he felt in that moment. I might, not necessarily agree with how he said it, but what he said, I'm not going to disagree with him because I feel like that about politics as well, but I still got to do my part to make a difference.
Well, very true. And do you feel like he's not the messenger? He's not somebody that you actually want to hear that from? Does it need to come packaged in another way? So do we let Ice-T off the hook? By the way, I want to make it clear. I'm not necessarily knocking this man. I'm making a general statement, and I have a general question about celebrities as a whole, people who have a large influence. But we've had this conversation about rappers recently. We were talking about how Donald Trump seems to have been really sort of involved or in the conversation amongst the rappers since the 90s. And right now he's got many rappers and other Black people who are influential speaking up for him and attending his speeches, his conferences, all of that type of thing. And there's still people who say, yes, even though these Black people and these rappers are speaking up pro-Trump, they don't have the influence that we think they do. So are we giving Ice-T too much credit? Like, him saying that is going to deter so many people. Are we giving him too much credit there?
Yeah, we are, because he's not a political person. We're giving him a little bit too much credit on that. He is not the guy that is really going to influence or he's not the person that is going to influence a vote, but he also is not the person that's going to make or break it either. I just feel like because he has such a huge platform and he's such an iconic voice, he has to be a little bit more mindful of what he says. But to answer your question directly, I don't think that him saying what he just said, I really don't think it's going to have a significant impact on who wins in November.
Fair. That's a fair point. I'm asking you guys over in the Raw Squad on our YouTube chat, what you think. Do you feel like people who have large platforms, and right now we're talking about celebrities, artists, things like that, even influencers, this year at the DNC, they had, I believe it was 200 to 300 influencers who showed up. They have a really big impact. So anybody who has influence, anybody who has a large platform and can talk to a large amount of people in one stroke of a key button of a key. What do you think? Do you feel, I'm asking the Raw Squad, do you think that it is their responsibility to sort of influence or at least educate? Or do you feel like that's too much of a burden? Should we take that burden off of them and allow other people to do it? I'm curious about what you all think, but I don't know. We will see. He is catching a little bit of backlash. Other people, like Andy, for instance, believe that it is okay and he's doing what he does. I do want to go ahead and jump into this other conversation. This is interesting because it goes way back. We're talking about what I remember back in the day. I don't know if you're familiar with Lala's initial, her original career, Lala Anthony, who is now an actress. She is, I guess maybe you still consider her an influencer, but she originally started out in radio. She was doing radio, and then she made her way over to becoming a host on MTV and other platforms as well.
Sure did.
Yeah, and did you know this? The fun fact, did you know that she was a host with Ludacris on the radio?
I did not know that. Wow, interesting. You learn something new every day.
Tell me about it. Yeah, so they all go back in radio. But when I think about those times, and you think about the purpose of DJs, and then putting artists on the map, it really was about the DJ and what the DJ was able to do for a certain artist. And they knew DJs at a particular, she was a VJ on MTV, not a DJ, but she was a VJ. Yeah. So, cause there is a difference. DJs play the records and they're in clubs and things like that. They're playing the music, and VJs are sort of hosts and, people like that who you see on television. But, really artists relied on DJs to sort of play their music first. Artists relied on them, and so they actually would come out of pocket. They would pay money out of pocket to these DJs to play their songs, where they knew that the DJ would be playing in a big club or in front of a large audience. So at one point, DJs did that. Another thing that the DJs used to do was mix the records. Okay, I mean, mix records. They have a lot of things that they used to do. But Alicia Keys is questioning what DJs actually do. When we come forward, I actually want to play that clip of what she said that could be considered offensive, and what one DJ is saying in response to her. We'll play that on the other side. I think it's an interesting conversation. We'll get to it all. But right now we've got news, traffic, and sports. You are listening to The Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay there.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl BB, and you're listening to me on The Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of The Raw Report with Robin Ayers when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Vice President Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are set to sit with CNN for their first joint interview. The pair will be interviewed by CNN's chief political correspondent and anchor Dana Bash in an interview to air at 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Both Harris and Walz are embarking on a bus tour through Georgia, with the interview to be the first time Harris has sat down with a journalist for an in-depth talk since President Biden dropped his bid for re-election. A new report is detailing the rationale for paying reparations to Black Americans living in Los Angeles. The LA Civil and Human Rights and Equity Department and its Reparations Advisory Commission released the report on Tuesday. It provides historical and contemporary context for the harm faced by LA's Black population due to systemic racism and oppression stemming from America's early years of slavery. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Enjoy the start of your night in Downey. Watch for a 30-minute backup from Rose Hill Road as the crash is currently on the right lane to the 605 South Connector to the westbound 105. West Covina has an accident blocking the left lane of the 10 West before Sunset Avenue with a 10-minute delay from Barranca Street. South LA, watch for heavy traffic flow from Stadium Way as an accident is on the right shoulder of the 110 South at Exposition Boulevard, 37th Street interchange. Also, if you're headed out to the Dodgers Stadium, game starts at 7, so you could see some heavy delays in that area as well. Then on the 60 East at Atlantic Boulevard, an accident on the right shoulder with a 10 to 15-minute backup from Lorena Street.
If you want a great-looking lawn next spring, now is the perfect time to get started, and nobody makes it easier or more affordable to get a green, healthy lawn than True Green. Sign up today for an annual plan and get 50% off one application. Visit TrueGreen.com today. Restrictions apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams took a hardline stance with linebacker Ernest Jones, their leading tackler last season, and ended up trading him to the Tennessee Titans. The Rams got a 5th-round draft pick in return for Jones. Jones, a 3-year veteran, was trying to get a contract extension this summer. Rams management preferred to wait until after the season to discuss a new deal. Jones led the Rams last season with 145 tackles. He also had 4.5 sacks. The Chargers are making an early gamble by keeping only 2 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster, Justin Herbert and backup Easton Stick. ahead. The Chargers are hoping Herbert can stay healthy. Stick is beginning his 5th season with the Chargers, but he's appeared in only 6 games. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tavis is under attack. I can't get his radio station on my transistor. I'm getting the Asian station that he's right around, but they're not letting KBLA 1580 come in. I'm not getting the black man. So let Tavis know he's under attack. Cyber attack, racist attack, fascist attack, but he's under attack. And they doing something to disrupt his radio station so they won't get the truth out to us.
Hey, it's Tavis. We appreciate all that love, let me tell you, because we may very well be under attack on all sides. Just because you don't believe in conspiracy theories don't mean they ain't after you. But in reality, sometimes stuff happens with the signal from the studio to the tower, which sends our programming to your car, home, office, or your transistor radio. But when you download the KBLA 1580 app, the sound is clear as a bell all day, all night, anywhere in the world, from Los Angeles to Lagos. So we love all of our listeners, no matter how you hear us. But when you download the KBLA 1580 app and hear that richness, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. But don't take my word for it. Download the KBLA 1580 app right now. I'm Tavis Smiley, and I approve this message.
I found out that one of my players was vaping. I brought him in and asked him, where did this stuff come from? He said, it's bigger than you think, coach. He had told me that almost everybody in my team was vaping. The next day, all the parents came in, and I said, hey, you as parents need to do your part. You guys need to figure out how, why, and when this stuff is happening, and we got to get it fixed.
Coach Sanchez and his team took vaping head-on. Learn how he and other Californians are beating big tobacco at undo.org.
With reported hate crimes rising in recent years, California has responded through outreach efforts across state government and in collaboration with community-based organizations for the launch of CA versus Hate. This non-emergency, multilingual hate crime and incident reporting hotline provides an anonymous reporting option for victims and witnesses of hate acts reported in 15 different languages through the online portal and in over 200 languages when calling the hotline. Report anonymously by calling 833-866-4283. Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or online at any time at cavshate.org.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Keeping you informed about what's really going on. Who's got next? And what not to miss in entertainment. You're listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
I know he see me looking at you. And I know he know you looking at me.
You are listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, my DJ, Andy, he don't miss. He don't
At
miss.
all.
Andy, you are always on point. He is playing DJ. What is that? I think that's from Jamie Foxx. I like that song. I like that song a lot. He's playing it because we are getting ready to talk about DJs, their point of view and what they do, their purpose. I actually also want to talk about the fact that their jobs may become obsolete. Is it because now with the invent of AI, what's going to happen with DJs? We don't know. We will talk about that in just a moment. But we're on the line with our contributor of the day, Chris Gunther, and yeah, DJ Oddpod. That's funny. We're on the line with Chris Gunther. We're getting ready to go into that conversation. If you're just joining us right now, we finished talking about Ice-T, and not just Ice-T. I don't want to put him on the line, but all these celebrities, all these actors, all these artists who have large influences, large platforms, and seeing if it is their duty to encourage or influence their audiences to get political, and maybe not get political, but at least get them to influence them to be knowledgeable about these elections, especially when they're so important. And I think we did land on our point. Andy was saying it's not up to them, basically let them stay in their lanes. He wants to hear music and wants to see acting from Ice-T. He doesn't want to hear this man talk about politics. I hear that point. I digress on the matter. Chris, before we get into the DJs and Alicia Keys and what she said about these DJs, I have to ask you, I just came across a post where if you're familiar with the reality TV world, I know some of you are, there's a pretty like power couple, Mendeecees Harris and his wife, Yandy Smith Harris. And even if you don't know who they are, you'll understand the point. They've been married for quite some time. They've been married for years. In fact, they have a bunch of children together. He went to jail for some years, and she still held it down while she was at home. She took care of their kids and his kid that he had prior to them getting married. She took care of everything. She still maintained her, her sanity, her beauty, and her business. She took care of it all. Since he's been released and they're still doing reality TV, he has not been wearing his wedding ring. And this is becoming a topic. And he opened up about the fact that he stopped wearing his wedding ring because they have marital issues. And that is the question. Is it okay to stop wearing your wedding ring in the midst of having marital troubles? Just yesterday, Chris, on the show, we were talking about Tabitha Brown and her husband, Chance, who admitted that, they were too broke at one point to get divorced. They were too broke. So they stayed together even when they didn't like each other. And eventually they fell back in love. So we know that could happen. We know that marital problems can be just a moment in time. But your thoughts, I know you're a married man, so give me your thoughts on if that's cool. Would you ever stop wearing your wedding ring because of marital issues within your situation at home?
I would never stop wearing the ring. I would never stop wearing the ring. You wear it on the good days. You wear it on the bad days. You wear it on the days when you in between. You wear that ring. That is a symbol of a love that should always be constantly revolving. The ring is a symbol that, no matter what, we gonna hang in here. We gonna tough this thing out, work it out, because just like Tabitha once, now literally Tabitha just said, her and her husband, they stayed together because they was too broke to get a divorce. Sometimes it's cheaper to just work it out. So my man, put that ring back on, work it out. You don't want to get divorced. A lot of folks that I have spoke to have told me more than once, CG, if you and your wife ever going through a rough patch, work it out, because sometimes it's cheaper to keep her.
Okay. Well said. I have to know from you, are you one person that always keeps on his ring whether you sleep, you work out, you go swimming, you wash dishes, you cook? Do you always keep your ring on?
I take it off when I'm like washing dishes or working out or something of that caliber, but after I'm doing that, it's right back on. And then of course, like I take it off when I'm about to go to sleep or something like that. But 9 out of 10 times my ring is always on my finger.
Okay. All right. So you'll cook, you'll take it off to cook and then you put it right back on, or you take it off to cook and keep it off for the night because you're going to go to sleep. I don't know if you cook, by the way. I'm making an assumption.
Well, you make a great assumption, but nah, the wife does the cooking in this house. There's a reason why she cooks. All right. I'm going to leave that conversation there.
Okay. And how about your wife? Is she one? Because the reason I asked, this actually has been a conversation on social media as well from a person who is newly married. She is asking questions. She's like, ladies, do you take your ring off at all? Especially because women, you have diamonds in your ring, typically speaking, and not necessarily just a band that a man would wear. Women, they take off their rings. Some women actually don't, though. I don't know if you want to put your wife's business out there, but is that just an in-house thing, basically? But once you leave the house, you are supposed to be wearing that ring at all times?
Usually when she leaves the house, she always has it on. Now, if we're both home, then nah, she's not just gonna be wearing the ring around the house because she's doing stuff like working or housework and things of that nature. But whenever either one of us leaves the house, the ring is always on. Before I leave the door, she will literally come downstairs and make sure that she puts the ring on my finger. So that way, we kind of, that's just what we do. I know everybody's marriage is different. However, no, the ring is always on either one of our fingers when we leave the house. When we are home, the ring can be off, but when we leave, we let it be known we are together, happily married, and them rings ain't coming off no time soon.
All right, I am not mad at that whatsoever. Let's go ahead and jump into this conversation about Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys, by the way, she came into her social media and made a post about DJs and what their purpose is, and it felt like it was a little bit out of her character. She was,
Yeah, it did.
cursing in the video. I don't know if she just had a bad experience. I don't know. And we know Alicia Keys to be a little bit more positive and bring some positivity to social media or just in public. By the way, she is married to Swiss Beats. Swiss Beats is a positive guy too, but he's got a little bit of an edge. So maybe she picked up a little bit from him. I don't know. But
Just a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit. She did question these DJs and what they do. Let's go ahead and play this clip, and you guys tell me too if you think that she was a little bit rough or if you kind of understand the question and where she's coming from. Let's go ahead and take a listen to it.
What the DJs actually do? Like, I don't think they're remixing the song on the spot. I'm pretty sure they've programmed it ahead of time. So what are they actually doing? Are they just turning up the volume, turning down the volume, or are they pressing and then just dancing and what the do DJs actually do?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you feel the question? Do you agree with her in this question? What do they do? Or are you more informed, Chris? And you know what? I think that she should have done a little bit more research, and she should know better. Actually, she's been in this business for quite some time. She should know better. Where do you stand on the matter?
For somebody of her caliber to make that kind of statement, it is very just not smart. It's not smart. Alicia, you know better. You've been in this industry for a very long time. You know what the DJs do. Maybe you had a bad experience with one or two recently and you just decided to let this out. Heck, you married a man that is a DJ, for crying out loud. What the heck are you asking? Well, what do they do? Come on now. That's just disrespectful. Don't disrespect the craft. When somebody wouldn't disrespect somebody would not disrespect your craft with you being a Grammy Award winner. You done been all around the world. You did so much. For her to say that, I find that very disrespectful, and I'm very disappointed. But I'm still going to sit up here and listen to Alicia because I freaks with Alicia Keys. But I don't mess with that comment she just said. Come on now, you gotta do better than
that. Yeah. Wait, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if DJ Quicksilver is actually. Oh no, I'm not sure if that's Swift Beats DJ, but DJ Artistic. He's the man who came to social media in response to this video that Alicia Keys put out, and he says, basically, all he knows is that he one time her team was supposed to pay him a couple $100 and they fell through. They didn't. He says that she was at her label at the time, RCA. Via professional email, someone from their team offered to pay me to play a remix of one of her songs while I live streamed on IG. Second week of the pandemic when we were locked inside. I played it. The label rep went ghost on the follow-up. Interesting, very interesting that her team, it's especially when you're talking about RCA in a big sort of organization like that. saying that they would pay him in a professional way, in a professional email, and kind of get ghost on him. What's up with that? I mean, you have any thoughts on that part, Chris?
Yeah, I hate when people go ghost, especially when there's business involved. And it makes me shake my head from the standpoint of, you guys contacted me. You see me doing my thing. And plus, all of us during that time, we were, in the house. We were trying to figure out what to do. This was a nice little way to give us some type of relief from what we were currently going through. Anytime you are in the entertainment business, yes, you get the entertainment, but you also get the business. The business side has to be handled. The business side has to be taken care of. For her people to drop the ball on that, that's jacked up.
I agree with you. Especially when he put it in that way. He said during the pandemic, as we know, everything shut down and we relied on DJs. We had a lot of DJs who came forward. I'll throw out DJ D-Nice. He was probably him, DJ Cassidy. You had a few who were out there playing music. D-Nice, he played Club Quarantine, and he played his he DJ'd songs every night. So they played a very, very important role, especially during the pandemic. Not to mention just throughout the years of hip hop, they play a very, very important role. So for Alicia Keys to actually question that, it makes me wonder if she had a personal experience or where that actually came from. I'm not sure. But, in other news, though, give me your thoughts on the trajectory of the careers of DJs. I mean, I know that they've played a very integral role in artist development and artist, success in their songs and things. But now there's AI. You can have AI do all kinds of things. People, just human beings, will go and create a playlist and go to parties and actually play the playlist, and they won't necessarily need to DJ. What are your thoughts on what's going to happen with them?
As long as you have music, you need a DJ. I respect everyone's craft, but come on, man, them DJs, they are needed, because AI can't get the party turned like a DJ can. When you're at an arena about to go to a concert, you need a DJ there to mix and mingle the music between the acts coming on and things of that nature. We need the DJs. Let's keep this in mind. When hip hop first got started back in the 80s, or maybe even further a little bit back there, you had people that were scratching and turntables, etc. From that point on, it continued to go and it continued to elevate. You need the DJs in music, period, point blank, because we can't have music without them.
Very, very true. Well, when we come forward, we'll continue this conversation. I want to know on the other side if she just put a target on her back with DJs that she may need in the future, sort of questioning them the way that she did. We'll talk about that on the other side. You are listening to KBLA Talk 1580. Stay there.
What's up, people? It's your boy Harmony H. Money Samuels, and I'm here on the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580. What's up?
You're inside the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, man. Looks like Bobby needs a ride to the airport again.
Grab the keys. Who's taking Auntie and her friends to the swap meet? Grab the keys.
How about we drop these boxes off at Miss Johnson?
Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, you're all about getting things done. So do it all in a Chevy SUV. From the versatile Equinox and sporty Blazer to the roomy Traverse, our lineup of SUVs will carry you through every adventure. All you have to do is...
grab the keys?
That's how we do. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse Limited models. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses, like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
Around here, we don't believe in victimhood. We believe in raising our voices, amplifying black voices in the climate conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we've been having such a good conversation. I see you guys over in our Raw Squad, our polls and our chats. You guys are commenting. To get back to that poll real quick, the question was, should celebrities influence their audience to vote? And 36% of you say stay out of it. No, they should not get involved. 64% of you say yes, it's their duty. Wow, that's a surprising answer right there. Very surprising answer. Well, we don't know. We don't know what him or other people are going to do. I do know that there are many, many celebrities who've gotten involved and feel like it is their duty. So others, though, will choose to stay out of it. On the other side, we were asking Chris Gunther, who's our contributor of the day, do you feel like Alicia Keys done put a target on her back by calling out DJs and questioning them and their purpose the way that she did? Do you feel like she's going to need them before they need her?
100%. But I think also when you're in business, especially in the entertainment business on that level, people know how to separate the business from the personal. It's hard for me to believe that if Alicia Keys called up a DJ, whoever that DJ is, it is hard for me to believe that DJ would not take that gig with Alicia Keys.
Sure. I agree with that. I hear that. I just still think that, I don't know, maybe it'll be, I'll look fondly upon her if she comes back and sort of explains where she was coming from or gives some sort of follow-up. You know, I think that'll just be nice. It's not necessary. It's just a nice thing to do. So in other news though, Chris, I have to pivot again. We talked about Lala earlier, and Lala Anthony, who was married to Carmelo Anthony for many years, and they have a son together, Kyan, who's he's going to be a phenomenal basketball player as well. He already is. She says now that they have divorced, she is not giving up her last name. And people are questioning that. People are saying, you know, once you divorce, should you be required to give up the last name of your partner as well? Does that come along with the divorce? What do you say about that?
Once we get divorced, you go your way, I go my way. That means give me my last name back. You go back to your maiden name, and we ain't never got to interact with each other again, especially if we ain't got no kids.
Oh my God. Chris, I did not expect that from you. I did not expect you to say that.
Learn something new every time I'm on this show, Robin.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree with you. I feel as though, especially if you've been together for quite some time, most likely what happens is like, let's say in Lala's case, she became really famous after she married Carmelo Anthony. And the things that she's done are under the name Lala Anthony. She's built sort of her own empire under that name. So it's less about who she married and being his last name, and it's more so about who she's created for herself as a brand. That she is Lala Anthony, and point blank period. That's who she is, and she shouldn't have to give that last name back. Does that convince you at all? Like to look at this a little bit differently?
Absolutely not. We get divorced. You go your way. I go my way. Give me my last name back. You get yours. God bless. That's
okay.
Where
Well,
let
me ask you this way: would you be salty? Would you have a problem if in the divorce, and God forbid that ever happened, but if in the divorce she was, it was granted to her to be able to keep her last name? What would you say about that? If she went ahead and went on and did her beautiful thing, her journey, her career with your last name, how would you feel?
I'm going to fight it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it until I win.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, that'll never be our situation. We are speaking that into existence. But for anybody else, we might be having a conversation with two different people who think two different ways, and that's fine. Chris Gunther, I so appreciate you for tapping in with the Raw Report today. Please let everybody know where they can keep up with you online.
You can keep up with me online on all social media at Chris Gunther. Be sure to check out my website, thechrisgunthershow.com, and catch me on the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580s. Peace and love, sis.
I so appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. And yes, we both do learn something every single time we're on this show. So I appreciate you, and we will talk with you in the very, very near future, Chris. Thank you. All right. Excuse me. Raw Squad. Listen, I appreciate all of you so much for tapping in with us and really working with me, because today was just one of those days, guys. It was one of those days, but we all have them, don't we? We do. But you guys hung in there with me. Excuse me. Chris Gunther hung in there with me, and shout out to Andy, because Andy be hanging in there as well. Well, you guys definitely do not want to move, because Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, he is up next, about to bring a fire show for you, because that's what he does. I am your host, Robin Ayers, and remember, today and every day forward, to be a blessing.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Records of Black Dalton, Illinois Mayor Tiffany Henyard's spending are now public. WGN-TV recently received a court order to access the documents that showed that Henyard, who was also the Thornton Township supervisor, spent tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on first-class flights, Uber Eats, high-end hotels, and more. Mayor Henyard's lawyer says his client is not